I don't think we've ever been as healthy or as wealthy as a cohort of people, and we're going to live longer, and there's going to be more of people living longer. And it seemed to me that the architects weren't really addressing how we live in an ageing world. So I wanted to look broadly. I wanted to look not just at aged care or at what's called retirement living. I wanted to look at the whole spectrum of ageing. And so the project was based on looking at different ageing environments, at different levels of care, to see if there were any common features that could be brought out and then could be translated to the Australian situation, and that we could use as a resource as designers, but also to provide a resource of interesting things that have been done in other parts, innovative buildings that have been done in other parts of the world. From the south of Europe, from Portugal through to Spain, Switzerland, Germany, the Netherlands, and finishing up in Denmark. And it was amazing that there were a lot of things that were common. You know, this idea of wanting to have a sense of connection to the community, to the windows, having big, large windows to look out to community, but also to have people to come in to feel like you're not isolated. And so the windows, in a sense, were bringing light and air in, but they were also not separating people out from the community. I think you've got to look at what people want. And it's clear that what people want when they age is they want to stay in their own homes. However, sometimes the homes aren't appropriate for people to stay in. They're too large, or they're on several levels, or they're isolated from friends and family. And so the only options people have now are to go into a retirement village, or to go, sometimes if it's necessary, to go in an aged care facility. And I think we just need more options. Firstly, to try and create this sense of an intergenerational community. 200 years ago we all lived in extended families, and it was easy for the older people to look after the younger people while the middle-aged people went out, the working-age people went out and worked. But now we live in separated societies, and so separated sort of families, and so it's not that easy to do that. But it seemed to me that that sort of model of having an integrated community where you have older people and younger people together, but you have all range of people living in a community. People say to me a lot when I'm talking to people about what I do is, what I'd like to do when I get older, I'd like to get a whole lot of friends together and buy a block of land, and we'll build a communal kind of facility where we can all share a space and we can have a carer come in. And that idea, I saw an example of where some women had talked about this in Switzerland, and they said, well, if we're not going to do it, we should just shut up. And so they did it, and they had no experience. And this building is quite amazing. It's a renovated warehouse kind of building, and they'd created their own spaces. They had a say in how the space would work and what choices they made about that, and so they had a huge amount of control and say over that. And it seemed to me an approach like that would also work really well in Australia, and it doesn't really happen. It's a model, that sort of co-housing kind of model is sort of more common in Europe. But one of the big things that came out from my research was this idea of being connected to community and having community and not being isolated. Isolation is a big factor for older people. They get lonely and their health suffers. So, that sense of community is actually really critical.